Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mike on this Wednesday morning. Bison men's basketball coach Dave Richmond will join us coming up on a half hour. NDSU set to take on South Dakota State tonight. Preview that coming up later on in the show. We mentioned, though, off the top, we had some history last night in South Fargo as Davies knocked off Cheyenne. In the process, Mason Klabo set the all-time North Dakota AA and Class A scoring record in the process, 26 points, to surpass Anand Moody's record that's set in 2017. And he's got a bunch of interviews apparently today, so I'm glad he's starting his day with us. Congratulations. Has it sunk in yet?
Not as much as it should. I just told my mom that this morning. It hasn't sunk in yet. I mean, I watched Moody play when he was a kid, or when he was in high school, and I was a kid on the bench, and I mean, he was a player. So
Yeah,
obviously, it's kind of a cool thing to break a record and break his. And his parents came down and were at the game, and I got to meet them.
that's
So it was
awesome.
just, it was cool. Yeah, it was a really cool night for sure.
Let me just the weight of this. We were just visiting off air. Was it getting on you? Like, just I know you've been asked questions about it. Was it getting to you?
Uh, Not necessarily pressure, but it was more like, just trying to get it done with so we can focus on playing basketball and not necessarily focus on me and my record. It's more, like I said kind of earlier in the interview last night, it's a Davies record more than a Mason Clavel record. Like, and I truly mean that. This means more to me for the school than it does to myself. And, so I'm glad I got it over with. It was a really cool moment, and I'm glad I shared it with the people I did, and it was a lot of fun.
Okay, so let's go through it last night. You had a step back three, you had a couple of free throws. I obviously you know the mark in your mind. So when you got the ball, tell me what went through your mind. Okay, I'm going to the bat. I'm getting this done with. What was the thought process?
Well, I was at 7 for a little bit, and I I was like, "I really wanna end it with a 3." So I came down and I shot a 3 and I airballed it. It sent it long. And then I caught another one that was pretty deep. I was pretty much next to Coach Brand on the sideline, and I almost airballed that one. And I was like, "Alright, I need to stop doing that." So then I knocked in free throws, and then they were pressing me, and you know, Holden Whitty, our post, does a really good job every time sealing his guy when I drive. So I kind of had a fast break, and I saw him seal, and I did a layup, and I looked up, and I saw it 11, and I kind of put my hands in the air, and it was a really cool moment. I went right to Bart and hugged him. Obviously, me and Manson have a really good relationship. We've laughed and cried and did everything together. So I needed to share that moment with him for sure.
We're watching the video of it again, and Bart addressed the crowd last night. I know you're in the moment of it, but what did that mean to you of what he said? And the place was standing. Everybody gave you a standing ovation last night.
It was special. Just even how the Cheyenne people treated me and how their coaches and their fans treated me I thought was kind of the coolest part because they didn't need to do any of that. They don't need to do that. They don't need to stand, but I just thought it was really cool. And, obviously Manson's speech was awesome. Me and him were talking. We're pretty both emotional people, and I thought he was going to cry in the mic, and he did a good job. So it was a really fun night.
Did you get close to breaking last night yourself?
Yeah, I was good until Max Frosley, he made a image for me, or like a poster, and he gave it to me. And I think they got a picture of me looking at it, and
Yeah.
I started, tearing up, and I had to give it back to him quick so I didn't start bawling my eyes out. But yeah.
The relationship you mentioned with Coach Manson, I mean, he put you in as an eighth grader. I'll never forget. We're doing the state tournament. You're out there playing as an eighth grader now 4 years ago. What has that relationship been like? How has that grown from when you're an eighth grader to where you guys are now?
Yeah, I mean, we've always been close. I mean, he just done so much for me. He's opened the gym for me. He's let me sit on the bench since I've been a second grader. He's let me in the locker room. Just stuff like that. And doing the thing he did in eighth grade, it kind of takes a lot of guts for him because I'm assuming he got a lot of backlash from it. And so like I owe everything to him. I mean, I wouldn't be in this position without him. He's done so many things for me playing here. He's done so many things on phone calls with recruiting and stuff like that. And I mean, he means the world to me, and he knows it. And it's just our relationship is more than a player coach. This thing will last forever as a friendship.
Was there anything you thought about or person you thought about right away after you made the basket?
Um, I mean, I just kind of thought about just like what I've gone through in the past 3 years, where it's just been constant up and downs with
Mm.
injuries and failures and stuff like that. And I'm really close with my grandparents, and they live in Texas during the winter, so I for sure thought about them. Just because I know they wanted to be there, and obviously I wanted them there, and we've been super super close. They're pretty much my best. I tell them everything, so I know I miss them. I know I miss them being there, and I've obviously they miss being there too. But just even just everyone in my family. I had a really good family show up there. A lot of people drove down from a bunch of places, so it was just a really really special night for me.
So now that this is over and done with, especially we were just visiting off air because you have 2 games left in the regular season, then it's EDC, and then it's state, and with state being here in your backyard, I mean, I know what your total goal is to get this out of the way. Was that important before postseason got here?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for sure. I didn't want it to be a distraction, obviously, when in the playoffs came,
Yeah.
and for these guys on our team just to be distracted by the stuff going on with it. But I'm glad it's I got it done. It's there, and then we can focus on trying to win and trying to win out here the next 8 games.
How important is this, Mason? You mentioned team success. You've had the personal success. You've been to state numerous times. You guys have had dynamite teams that haven't got over the hump. Why is this team different in your mind that you guys can do it this year?
I think this team's different because of the fact that obviously I've been there 4 times and I've lost it 4 times, so
Mm.
I kind of know, what we need to do, what like our skills there. Like we have just plenty enough skill, but it's kind of the 6 inches between our head that's kind of holding us back right now, where we just got to do the little things. And I think this team is special because of how close we are. I mean, we go every Saturday. We have morning shoot around pretty much, and we all go out to breakfast after to Randy's Diner, just stuff like that where we're all super close and there's no drama on this team. And I think it'd be really special just to, get it done with these guys.
You mentioned the Moody's were there. I know Anand's dad well, and Dave. They drove down to see it. Anand obviously is playing right now in Spain. What did that mean to you that they were there last night to recognize this?
It means a lot. Like they didn't have to do that,
Yeah.
right? It was their record, and they were very, very nice, very well to me. They came, or his dad came to the North game on Friday just in case if I did break it, and then he drove down again. So
Wow.
it's just, yeah, it's just like they didn't have to do that, but they did. And it was, I met him and I talked to him for about 10, 15 minutes after the game. And I thanked him a lot just because like it's a special moment for me and them being there and passing the reins or whatever you like to say. It was cool. It was a really cool thing.
AJ Jacobson and Anand Moody are legends in this state for basketball. Your name's now above them. When I say that, what's that mean to you?
I mean, it means a lot. Yeah. I watched those guys growing up. I was a North Dakota basketball just fan. And so it was really cool just to, pass them. I mean, I watched On and Moody play when I was on the bench as a little kid in state. And when we played him, and I
Yeah.
just like that guy could just shoot it.
Yes,
I
he
just
could.
sat there and just like, holy, he can shoot the ball. But, it's cool. Like I put in a lot of work, and watched them, and they obviously motivate me to get to this spot. And so it was a really cool moment.
I got to ask here, when's the last time we've had a pickup game with you, Jaden, and Lexi? Has that happened lately or no?
It's been a while. I it's been a I remember Lexi always tells the story, but I remember I was a little kid. She was in college. She was still at UND, and we went to the gym or whatever, and we were playing 1-on-1, and she wasn't really trying, she was being nice. And I'd get so ticked off at her. I was like, "You like I want you to try. Like I want to see where I stand with you, you know?" And then she'd back me down and score every single time. But it was it was just, we haven't had in a while, but it was always fun growing up, and I was just a little guy shooting on the side hoop while my dad was working those two out. It motivated me for
Well,
sure.
people forget your older brother could hoop as well. I know he went and played football, but he was a darn good basketball player too.
I mean, he started 4 years here at Davies
Yeah.
too, and 1,000 points, and yeah, he's like the biggest, like the biggest person I wanted to catch or mimic when I was younger,
Yeah.
just because I was always around him on the bench, and he's 6 years older than me, so he was a big part in just like I wanted to be better than him. Like that was my biggest thing is I wanted to be better than him.
I know there was a picture I saw to have them there. What did that mean for you last night?
It means a lot. Like for how much of a gap we are in
Yeah.
age, we're pretty close. And my sister and my brother are always at every single game, and that means a lot. Like that's just kind of our family thing where my dad preaches it a lot. We got to show up for each other and be our biggest fans for each other, and they've been amazing. It's been awesome.
So now that it's over and done with, was it a deep breath? Like, okay, finally get this done with. What was the exact emotion last night after the game?
Yeah, kind of like I mean, it's a big moment. It's not something I'm taking for granted,
Yeah.
but I'm glad that it's kind of over and it's more about the team now and not necessarily myself. That's kind of just the biggest thing where we're 8 games away from, doing what we want to do. And so it's now you just focus on that, focus on, March and the last 2 games of the season.
All right, last thing before I let you go, and I really appreciate you making time this morning. Is there a favorite game or performance you've had, not counting last night, that stands out when I ask you that?
It's yeah, I don't think I'll ever get beat, but it's the EDC championship last year
Yeah.
with the just I mean, I've battled against Travis Hogue since I've been in 3rd grade, just because I always played up a year in travel ball, and he had that team with Sam and Zeller and Halgo and Hogue and all those guys, and I never beat them when we were playing travel ball.
Yeah.
We never beat them, and just so it's always something, especially with that group of guys last year that I had, who I played travel ball with. Just having a sold out crowd at West Fargo High
Oh
in the
man.
EDC
Yeah.
championship, and I put the ball through the hoop, and it was super fun.
It's great to see. I feel old, man, because I remember you playing varsity in 8th grade. So now that you're doing this for your last ride, makes me feel old. But it was great to see last night. Congratulations. Thanks so much for the time, and good luck the rest of the way. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Mason Klabo, now North Dakota's Class AA and A scoring record holder, surpassing Anand Moody last night. Game you saw here on Extra. Congrats to him. And really cool. Dave Moody, who's Anand's dad. I've known Dave forever since Nate, his oldest son, played football, and Allie, his daughter, played volleyball here at NDSU. And I just saw him last year when Anand lit up the Bison from Montana last year in a game. And you could tell there was a lot of pride there. And that's salute to that. That's really cool to be there in person to see Mason go and break the record. That was pretty cool stuff. Appreciate Mason making time this morning during school as well. We'll break. We come back. We'll wrap up our first hour. Dave Richmond coming up in hour 2. Bison on the road. Take on the Jackrabbits. That's coming up. We'll preview that. We roll on a Wednesday morning edition. Back after this.